In the first blitz game, Kasparov had white. It was a fluctuating struggle, very tense game, which finally ended in a draw. Probably a fair result.
Anand showed in that game that he is a class blitz player. He really had Kasparov worried.
If you like playing blitz, maybe you can always go along to the local Geneva Chess Club and some information about it outside. It's worth going along. There's also discussions about some of the games that were played in this tournament. Look at the opening, Dan. That's interesting.
But back to this one. They're repeating. Excuse me. They're repeating the opening from their first game, where really Kasparov won a beautiful game, quite convincingly, and they're playing exactly the same way.
I wonder, so far, exactly the same moves. First 15 moves, exactly the same. Anand hasn't really had time to prepare anything new. Maybe he's got a second idea he wants to try out in this game.
Now Kasparov having to think again. Should he play in exactly the same way?
Is this position easier to play for white or black? This is often
he's pushed on with G4
immediately, though. Before he played E6 first, so he's changed. Kasparov's the first to get a new move in.
Oh, and Anand offering the pawn on B2. What happens? Knight takes B2,
Rook B1,
Rook B1, Rook
C8.
C8.
C7. Knight takes B2, Rook B1, Queen C7. Doesn't look too bad for that, does it? Knight D5.
No, Rook C8 he can play.
Oh, Rook C8. You could have played Rook C8 first, that's true. Yeah, that's another story.
Well, okay.
Knight takes B2 might have been possible, but Rook C8's a safe move.
Anand attempting to improve his play in the first game, but I'm not totally convinced by this. B3 has come all the same. Now, where does Knight move back to? B6?
Yeah.
Then
A3.
Ooh.
I suppose you're just going for a simple something takes C2 at the moment. So, what do you play? Queen D2, followed by
Knight D5.
Knight D5. Actually, E6. But now where are you going? B4. The knight is a bit short.
Knight's chasing around the board.
Yes, it's almost comical how these two knights have been hopping all over the place and nothing else has been happening.
But okay, I think this is okay for Anand. Somehow this knight on A3 looks very odd indeed.
It's getting critical very quickly. Knight down to D3. What do you think? Knight D3. Maybe then bishop takes D4 and rook takes C2. And it's very risky. You're giving up your black squares for that pawn.
Queen's come to E1, defending a knight on B4, trying to hold his position together.
And then, well, who's got the worst place?
H4, Kasparov advancing those pawns again.
Obviously, you can't take an H4 because you lose the knight on D4. I suppose you can play C4 and the knight on A3 might look a bit silly later on.
Maybe rook D1, bishop E3.
He's trying to play.
Well, we're going to get the same structure: pawn down to H3, then G3.
That's right.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
he's done it. Well, we've almost got the same pawn structure as in that first game, and somehow, I was very sceptical about White's position in that game.
Knight B5. Knight B5. This is quite dangerous. Knight takes B5 is possible, with ideas of if the bishop takes A1, knight takes D6 check. If the knight takes B5, there's bishop takes B5, and both white rooks are on prise. So, okay, rook D1. Just bringing this centre. Now look, knight finds a better square. Knight C3. Oh, there's a pin. It's a temporary pin.
But this list looks awful. I don't like the way Anand's.
Maybe you should
play this. This knight on C3 is tremendous, and now the rook on D1 is attacked. The pawn on E4 is attacked. I think Anand's in all kinds of trouble. This is a repeat performance of the first game. Look at Anand's king; it's wide open.
I think it was a mistake too. I think you should have sacked the exchange with knight F2 and picked up the G pawn in compensation.
Well, I just don't think you should have gone for this opening again. He obviously didn't have a clear improvement.
Hold on. There's something happening on the E file, isn't there? On the F file. There's all sorts of funny things are happening here.
Knight F5. Okay, Anand has given up a couple of pawns, just trying to get some play, but it looks desperate. Queen C6. There we go. We got the same mate thread again. Is the same as in the first game. Queen E2, defending against the mate. But this is pretty ugly.
Oh, Queen E4. That's a powerful move. Hitting the rook, hitting the bishop. There can be all sorts of exchanges here. Just a
rook to F1, rook
to F1, and then bishop H6 just wins on the spot. Because oh dear,
I think Anand has completely collapsed in this game.
I think he should have. Oh, rook F2 is a better square because at least G2 is defended.
Knight D5 is horrible. Kasparov dominating the position.
That's right. I mean, just a series of exchanges, and you've got a very nice ending. There's no longer any problems. Just take it off.
Kasparov,
take
two
it off.
pawns up, technically winning position. He's
Yeah.
just exchanging pieces now. It's all over.
Put your king on a square like.
What's Queen takes G4? What's he overlooked?